1974-75 series, England and Australia, in Australia, was a terrific series for the Australians. We'd won the first test match comfortably in Brisbane, and Jeff Thomson got his best ever bowling figures in the second innings, and he stamped his mark on the series. And suddenly, I mean, we had Lilly, and Lilly was a bit of an unknown quantity because he was coming back from a back injury, but suddenly this combination of Lilly and Thomson struck fear into the Englishmen. We went to Perth. I sent them into bat after winning the toss purely on the basis that they were so hammered mentally from the Brisbane test that I thought we had the psychological advantage. Let's sort of bang it home. We bowled them out for about 208, I think. And the other reason, it was a rare overcast day in Perth, so it wasn't boiling hot. So that was the other reason for bowling. So we're in a good position. Now, just cast your mind back to the innings that I talked about, Doug Walters, previously in Trinidad. Now, that would have been about April 1973. So here we are, November 1974. Greg Chappell batting, and he gets out about 5 minutes before tea time. Doug Walters coming in. Now, remember, in Trinidad, it was Greg Chappell getting out right on lunch, Doug Walters coming in next. Right. So as they're crossing, as Greg goes past Doug in Perth, Greg says to him, "This time I've given you a bit of a sighter." That's all it said. So Doug goes out there, he's 3 at tea time, comes back in, goes out to bat again, and he's belting them all around the park. And I don't know what he was at drinks, but probably in the vicinity of 60, something like that at drinks. Terry Jenner was the 12th man. As he's about to take the drinks out, I said to TJ, I said, "Check with the little bastard and ask him how he's going." TJ said, "Right, no problems, mate." So he gives Doug a drink, and he says, "How are you going, Doug?" And he says, "Oh, all right." He said, "It's a bit warm out here." And he said, No, Doug, that's not what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about." He said, "How are you going?" And he said, "I think I've got a chance." So he knew exactly what, it was obviously in his mind, and he knew what we were thinking. So now we throw forward to the last over. Bear in mind, they're 8-ball overs, you see. And he is on 93, going to the last over with Bob Willis bowling. He's on strike. So he was 3 not out at tea, so he needs 103 to get his 100 in the session. And we're convinced that that's what he's going for, not just the 100, you see. So all the betting in the dressing room is he'll do it. Somehow he'll find a way to do it, you see. First ball from Willis, bouncer, bang, and he hits it for 4. We said, "Oh, right, now, it's a cakewalk now, he'll get it easy." Next 6 balls, no runs. So he's got 1 ball to go, 6 runs to get his 100 in the session, you see. And still the betting in the dressing room is a little so-and-so, he'll find a way to do it. Anyhow, Willis bowls him a bouncer. As he hits the ball, everybody in the dressing room said, "He's bloody done it." And in those days, they had a rope at the whacker, and the kids all used to sit, by the rope. And the ball's gone into the kids, you see. And some of the kids had sort of, as he hit the ball, started to run onto the field. So we could see from the dressing room that it had definitely cleared the rope and gone for 6. But the umpires obviously weren't so sure. So they checked with each other, and it was quite a while before the guy signalled 6. And there he is. He's got 103, so he's got the 100 in a session. So that would have been his second one. He went on to make another one in New Zealand, another 100 in a session. But so you can imagine if a guy gets 100, his team is usually, in those days, not everybody sitting out on the balcony, and there'd be some blokes in the dressing room, some on the balcony. But guy gets 100, everybody would have been clapping, whether they're on the balcony or whether they're in the dressing room. Guy gets 100 in a session, then everybody's going to be out the front clapping. I said to our blokes, "Right, everybody grab your beer and in the showers." And there's nobody in the dressing room when he walks in, you see, and we'll see what happens. So anyhow, we all into the showers, you see. We hear the door open, and Ross Edwards was his batting partner. We hear them come in, you see, and we're waiting for Walters to come looking for us and say, "Where are you bastards been?" Nothing happens. For about 5 minutes, we're all standing in the showers having a sip of beer. Nobody's talking much, you see. And eventually I said, "Well, this is a waste of time, So we walk out, and there he is. He's just sitting there. He's taken his pads and his gloves off, and they're just sort of sitting there. and he's sitting there having a smoke, you see. Terry Jenner was the first one. He took a can of beer over to him and handed him the can of beer, and Doug said, "Not before time, 12th," you see, like that. Anyhow, I grabbed Ross Edwards and I said, "What did he do when he came in the dressing room and there was no one there?" He said, "Mate, he did what he normally does." He said he just sat down, he took his cap off, he said he took his gloves off, and he lit up a cigarette. He said it just made no difference to him. And that's one of the great things that I'd say about Doug Walters. If you didn't see his innings and you were just sitting in the dressing room when he came back in, you would never know whether he'd made 0 or 100. He was exactly the same all the time. Incredible player. He was a match winner. He just... But the thing about him was that he loved those sort of challenges. I mean, I don't know when the thought went in his mind about getting the 100 in the session. I don't know when it was, whether he was thinking about it beforehand, or whether once Greg said what he said to him as they crossed, whether that put the thought in his mind. I've never asked him. I should ask him sometime. But I mean, that was Doug Walters. He had that sort of mind. Here's a bit of a challenge. Can I get 100 in a session? I mean, most batsmen, even really good batsmen, are thinking, I hope I can get 100 today. Not, I hope I can get 100 in a session.